son will go to 4K in a different building. He will go to 4K or kindergarten at South School, a different school. He will go to 3 through 5. He'll go to middle school. He'll go to the high school. He'll go to at least 5 schools throughout his career. Now, I'm not opposed to different buildings throughout childhood development. I understand that learning has changed in the last 20 years of me being a student. But I am opposed to numerous drop-off points. If you're a family that would like to pick up both children, or all 3, or in my brother's case, all 4 children, right now what would happen is you would have to pick up a student at this school building, you'd have to pick up a student at Pineview, perhaps the middle school, and also the high school. I feel like the district hasn't thought a lot about, or I guess hasn't considered how that might affect families in the way that it is looking likely to be, that our schools would be spread out from one side of town to the other.
Yeah, thanks.
And I'm going to wait for a response, because I might have a rebuttal.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Have we considered how this location will affect families? We have. We've had a fair amount of conversation about bus transfer. Well, we've had that conversation ongoing for many years.
Yeah, it's 345.
Oh, you know.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. Again, I'll say that the likelihood of the maintenance facility living on this property is at least in question. I wouldn't want to say or do anything to cause you to lean one way or the other in your belief. However, I would say that I think the likelihood of the transfer point living on this campus is slim at best. Wherever the transportation maintenance facility rests does not necessarily mean that's where transfer is going to rest. And I think that our work about improvements to the busing situation, the transfer issue, is important to us, and we're likely to find a response to that, some effort to improve that even before a new school opens, whether it's on this campus or someplace else.
You mentioned 30 acres that are currently at Pineview. My question to you is, why would we not start that nucleus now at Pineview? There are additional land possibilities to the east of Pineview that would allow for a building there perhaps, or if you would like to go towards the hospital, it would be much more centrally located within the district. If we look at the if we look at the district, where this school is going in the nucleus of that district, it is, without question, to anybody that looks at a map, going to be on the east side of the school district. There's far much more land mass within our district to the west and to the south, far more rural students that will be inconvenienced by this as well. And so my question is specifically right now in regard to Pineview.
Sure. Why are we not building that?
Correct.
Well, I think there are a couple of reasons, one of which is, I don't know if this map maybe doesn't do anything, or certainly doesn't do much for us in terms of showing it, but one of the things we are trying to accomplish in our proposal to our community is an element of planning for the future, meaning that 2 school buildings are going to eventually live on the same piece of property.
I get it. I voted for this referendum, and I'll vote for another one.
Yeah.
I'm in a family of teachers, and I believe in education, without a doubt.
Yeah, and so while placing this new school somewhere on or near the current Pineview campus is certainly a viable enough option to be discussed, it doesn't give us the opportunity to also then have that planned future for another school building, because I can't imagine that we would have Pineview, this new school, and yet another school connected with one another on what is now the Pineview campus, even if it was larger than what it currently is.
How much space would you anticipate a compound of 3 schools like that to take up?
Well, I don't know if anybody has the formula. We've been given formulas by those who build schools.
But that one's not big enough.
That one's not big enough for 3 schools to live there, certainly.
But you don't
could
know.
A second one live there? I think it could. It might feel shoehorned in a little bit because, again, there are some limitations to that property. There's a significant, water business that runs through there. Somebody has a more formal term for it, but you get the,
Water business works.
yeah, okay, yeah, everybody knows what I'm talking about. We also understand that there would be some pushback if we ate the soccer fields, although I guess you just.
Hey, I'm on the Parks and Rec Committee in Reedsburg. I'll take crap for it tomorrow.
Appreciate that. Anybody who wants to share in the crap, I like it a lot. So.
I think there's a couple fellow members here, so they know.
I appreciate that. We also have a certain amount of concern about the amount of traffic that would be increased with even just a second school building living on that campus. We want to be cognizant of the important traffic that leads to the medical center, not too far from that campus, and having Pineview be a significant building would serve a number of students yet. And then a new school building that serves somewhere between 550 and 600 kids. That's a lot of families coming and going there. And those of you who have been on the Pineview campus between 7:30 and 8 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock and 3:30 in the afternoon know that it's less than desirable already. And if we, double that, we're asking for a significant challenge.
I would contest that your current proposal will not fix that in any way, because there are going to be a number of families that are going to need to drop off at both Pineview and this new school. So I am not certain that putting a school on that same street fixes the issue that you just mentioned.
Okay. Well, again, some of our research does show, though, that